But now let's host a lobby up. And do you veto any maps?
No, I play everything.
All right, we'll do Death Aura. I mean, that's a map we've played many times, gets played a ton. Why not? All right, so looking at your reaction. So when you scout the Phoenix, you just go 1 Cyclone, tanks, 2 to 3 Vikings, and you skip the mine drop, of course. Yeah. And you usually like to go for a big tank push with 1-1. So do you drop a 3rd command center before barracks, or do you still go 2nd and 3rd barracks nice
I
and
go
quick?
I go Terran first when they go Stargate, then rocks.
Yeah. Whereas,
Oh yeah, I didn't type that.
no worries. I was just checking your normal build, because your normal build order, you do a more normal 3 racks, right?
Yes, I usually do 3 rocks, yeah, most of the
Okay,
time.
cool. All right, I'll just add that to the notes. Fast 3rd CC. Yeah. So you try to go for like the big 3 base push, like just like
Yeah,
maybe
exactly.
like 150 supply or something, like
Yeah.
5 siege tanks, a whole bunch of bio. Cool.
Yep.
Okay, cool. That's solid. Just wanted to check you had that standard reaction, but what is going to be important there while we see if there's anyone who's able to come help us out? Fluxior's too tired to help us out. He would be good actually as well. No worries. I've got some theory because I've started learning this build as well, and I've been as the Protoss, right? The Phoenix into Colossus charge lot, and I've been also obviously playing against it for a long time. Now, there's 2 very different branches, is what we've got to write and think about here. So let's just kind of write down some theory first and foremost. So there's 2 branches, right? There is non-stop Phoenix, which can even go into Sky Toss, right? Sometimes they do it where they don't really ever get a Twilight Council or many extra gateways. It's just a couple of gateway units, to support non-stop Colossus adding disruptors, and that's going to be like cannons and batteries and stuff, right? And
Yeah.
even though you can technically out-siege them, the power of disruptors hitting tanks from out of range, of shield battery overcharge, and them just pulling back, and occasionally they'll even give up a base if they have to. Phoenix always cutting off your reinforcement, and then them kind of clearing up your army. So that's more of like a real, turtle mass Phoenix Colossus style. Very dangerous to attack into that, right? So that's one branch. The other branch is just 3 to 5 Phoenix into Colossus and charge, etc. More normal style. Which one are you facing off against more often?
The second one, the 3 to 5 Phoenix.
Okay, cool. That's kind of good because that's a bit less of a wildly different situation. Like it becomes a bit more normal, right? So that's, because the other one is, there's a real art form to it where you want to always be pressuring against the other style and pretending like you're going to attack, but not actually attacking, right? It's like always be threatening, but not actually committing, and being incredibly greedy behind it, like being quite greedy at least, I would say. Maybe not incredibly greedy, quite greedy and super macro focused behind it. So like often I'm not really fighting till 2-2's finished really against the Phoenix Colossus style, and you're getting the second starport up, right? All of that sort of stuff. Second starport, 12 to 14 Viking, 2-2 giant push, something like that, right? So against the Phoenix into Colossus opening, definitely, I think what we're probably going to need to recognize, just kind of thinking ahead, is scout to see if they're, and this is the hardest thing to do. This is not easy, but let's set our goals first, right? To see if they're actually going to be ready for us or not, right? With that 3 base push. So scout if they're going late game and our 3 base push can work, or if it's handing them the perfect fight that they really want. So you can imagine some of the scenarios where they really want to fight. So let's say, okay, they really want to fight. What does that look like? So a couple of things. Mass Zealot, right? If they've got a lot of Zealots, Mass Zealots, Archons added onto the Colossus. No second forge, right? Just single forge. Single robo is often the case, right? Like no storm, that sort of thing. It's like they just haven't necessarily maybe a fourth base, but not many gases, right?
Okay, yeah.
Oh, not many gases. Often stopping at 4 only. Right? Sometimes we see a fourth nexus, we go, this player's doing big macro, I've got to go attack them. And that's absolutely not the case, right? There's like, I think the most classic basic Protoss trick right now in TVP that almost all of us fall for as Terrans is they take a fast fourth and even potentially a fast fifth, and it just kind of baits us into attacking into them, and it allows their kind of low tier mass zealot with some splash damage army to just actually take good fights, where the answer is actually sometimes to just turtle and turtle and turtle. Or at least turtle for a bit longer, get our fourth up, get to the next step. And that can be really powerful. So compositionally, let's also map that out just a little bit here. Was that your friend that joined the lobby? Someone joined and then left. Who was that? It was Maker's Diord.
Yeah, it's a friend of mine.
Oh, it's Terran, not Protoss. Damn. I was like, if he's Protoss, ask him to come back.
No, it's not. But actually, wait, Nisha is online if you want. The other guy that you need to coach.
Oh yeah,
I can
Nishu's
ask him.
Protoss.
Yeah.
Yep.
Protoss.
Hit him up. That would be cool. Get a rematch. That would be awesome.
Okay, I typed him.
No worries. I mean, this theory stuff's really good anyway. It's good to kind of like sit and just have a think about it. So composition and production. So I guess I just want to check what your path is. So you're going tanks, you're going bio. Let's say we don't go for a push, or we do, but the game goes on. So obviously you've got 5 racks, 1 fact, 1 starport, right? What do you go next normally? Is there a standard path? Is it ghosts? Is it second starport? Is there something that you tend to prioritize?
So usually when I don't go for a big push or I don't commit to it, I leave the factory and make the reactor and build another starport next to it. And then Ghost Academy.
Okay, so factory, so second starport, swap with factory for quick
and
double Viking / lib production. Yep.
Yeah.
And then it's Ghost
with
Academy.
On the way.
So when does the 4th command center? Does it normally start before the second starport or after?
After, I believe.
I prefer it that way. I think it's great to get a 4th up, but I see too many Terran players have giant bio army, but you just don't have enough technical tools, and you take really bad fights. Like, if you do that, you can do it, but you need to be more like counter-attack, backstab. Like Protoss tries to push, but you've got units ready that boost in and drop in their base. You know, you're always buying yourself time to let that economy kick in, and you're trying to create small fights everywhere. There's nothing that pisses me off more than players who are very slow getting the extra starports, getting the ghosts, getting the range libs, but then they're still taking head-on fights against like Colossus Disruptor or like Storm Archon and stuff. And I'm like, it doesn't make sense. If you want to play big economy, also be playing backstab, play nipping at their heels, you know, use your mobility. So I think that's a good order. Second starport, 4th command center, adding the ghosts kind of last on here, which especially makes sense, I think, in this sort of scenario, just as a standard thing. And then do we add a few more barracks?
And then 3 racks to go up
more
to 8.
racks, all with tech labs, I imagine.
Yeah.
And then a fusion core eventually for range libs, or is that something you never really do? Fusion core
after the Vikings.
Okay, so looking at that compositional order, I would add like a little sub note. So verse heavy zealot Archon, go for ghosts as early as possible, right? If they're like, they get 2 Colossus and there's bam, you can try to speed that Ghost Academy up, right? So that's kind of the counter there. If they're going double Robo Colossus, we maybe want to speed up the second starport. You know, there's a few different ways we can adjust it. Normally your order is going to be pretty solid and it'll help you out, right? But I think that's good. That's like a really solid production order you have there. Like, I really wanted to check kind of what your theory was and your internal kind of standard order. Now we can actually go into game and see everything go wrong in the chaos of a game, and you know, get some more dynamic information, hopefully. So I think this should be cool. We can just hop in and try that style out. I guess the one thing that I mentioned was scout to see if they're going late game or if our 3-base push can work. So all I would say is just try to like scan do a scan when you're doing your 3-base push and try to gauge. Now, there's a few ways we can do that. Some people would just scan the 3rd and just decide, if they've taken gases on their 3rd or not. Other people would scan the 4th base to see if there's no 4th building, or maybe you can use Marine Scouts or SCV Scouts ahead of time, right? If you're even better. Some people like to just scan the main base and just because normally that's where most of the tech and production is. And they're like, there's a second forge, there's a second robo, blah, 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 blah. They go in a late game, I better push now. Or they just see a billion gateways and nothing else. And they're like, maybe not.
Usually I try to scout in the natural to see if they've gas or not. So I can see if they go Mass Zealot Phoenix or... if I see gas, of course it's Colossus.
Yeah.
And then, as you said as well.
Right, that's a little bit earlier though, right? So even if they go Phoenix Colossus, a bit of a later scout, that is a very good early scout actually, right? Because sometimes they do those crazy Mass Zealot Phoenix all-ins. So that's really good you're checking for that. Awesome. Okay, dude, this sounds great. This is some good theory. Let's get into game. So let's just check Nishu's good to go. Eon Blue says, do you still want me? We don't need you. Sorry, mate. Thank you for answering the call, though. Welcome to watch. Thank you, Eon Blue. All right.
Do I need to tell him to go Colossus, or it doesn't matter?
I'm gonna. I'll message.
Okay.
I'll message him.
Yeah.
Can you play Phoenix 3-5 Phoenix into Colossus opening, please? Into charge and standard ground PBT after that. Not sure if you know that style. So what style did Nisho do versus you in the finals? Was it a lot of that or just a lot of blink openings?
He did. I think he did a forget Blink Stalker, DT, and then Colossus charge without Phoenixes though. I think.
Okay.
Just fast Colossus, 2-base Colossus.
Right. Okay. Cool. Well, he's pretty high MMR, is Nisho here and stuff, and it's been looking really good. It's okay. It's okay if not perfect. Just try it out for a good practice, and we can change it up after game 1. Awesome. Ready? So yeah, Nisha said, "Look, not really the build order, but I can do it. I give it a go." All right, let's do it. You ready?
Yeah, go.
All right, let's kick some ass. So I normally shut up. I try to not talk too much. During the game, I might remind you of something here or there. Mostly, I'm just gonna write some notes, chat between. After the first game, if you go, you know what? I'd rather you talk and tell me what to do a lot more. You can let me know that. For the first one, just get in your rhythm. Have some fun with it, and good luck, man.
Okay, thank you.
Kill some Protoss.
I'll try.
All right. How are we all doing, everybody? Hope you're all having a good time. Welcome to the stream. It is going to be a fun day today. I've got a bunch of good things coming up. Awesome. Bunch of good things. We're going to be working on the Book of Filth 2.0, and we're just hoping that Pippin's here, who we're coaching, and both of these players are actually Italian players who have won coaching through a tournament. Pippin's got 1 hour. Nisho beat him in the final, so he gets 3 hours of coaching. So really excited to be coaching with both of them, and we'll see exactly how that goes. Let's turn the volume way down on the in-game. We like to do that during coaching. And we're going to write notes as we go. Hello, Ivan. Abala. We got Triple Helix. What's happening, fam? Robbie, Wolfgang, Bralai. What's happening? How are we going? What costume? I only see Roach. Exactly. How are we doing? Stauff. Emmy Rasumi's here. Terra Train. Siglo Deloro. Sky9. Aga. Samuel Flank. My man. Looks dangerous to be inside the Roach. Oh, I mean, some people are just cowards. So you've just got to remember to not be a coward. And look, if you feel like you're a bit embarrassed, some people are shy of farting. You've just got to remember, guys, it's better out than in. Don't be shy. It's all natural. And, it's fine. It's fine. And yes, as a Terran... Oh, don't tell me he's going to block the command center. Oh, fucking disgusted. Delayed it for a solid 5 seconds there. Disgusting Protoss players.
Command center upgrade
Fucking
complete.
sickens me. Seriously. Don't worry, guys. We'll be coaching Nisho from the other side. We'll give him some more advice on how to be a shit-eating Protoss player in the near future. Now, interestingly, the Reaper is not going across the map at all. Now, he scouted that it was... That's not a particularly fast adept, but it is still a core before Nexus, I'm pretty sure. So the Reaper took a little bit of time to go across the map. Does miss a little bit of an opportunity to go in. Let's just... oh, the Reaper's running into the adept. Oh, no, he just lost it, I think. Actually, no, he's okay. He's spamming clicks very close to where the Reaper is, which I'm wondering about. Why is he looking at that Reaper at that time? That was odd. He's going to try to go back in straight away. Interesting. I guess he's done everything at home, so it's all fine. All right. Let's write some notes. Practice game 1 versus Nisho.
Add-on complete.
So any Italian people watching, make sure you do go check out the Italian scene. They're actually organizing some cool tournaments, some Passion Lords, sponsoring some coaching with their winners of the tournaments. And I'm not sure what the other division was, but it was a little bit lower than this one. So this looks really tight so far. This looks like, hey, you know, early build order is memorized. We've seen his Stargate, we've seen Phoenix. I don't know why the Reaper's still around, other than just to be a dick, but hey, why not? Does let the Adept in, but that's okay. Shouldn't really matter. He's still... Why is he still looking at his Reaper? Okay. Looking at Reaper non-stop in early game. When damaged, just go macro. It takes time to heal. No need to micro it. Click it back, look away. After scouting Stargate, why does our Reaper keep poking in? Like, are we trying to pin the unit back? Seems like unnecessary APM, right? And we let that medevac in. That sorry, that adept in, for instance, while distracted. And could be just a little more perfect on our macro if we give it more focus. So the third CC is not particularly fast. That could actually be down a lot earlier. So I'm going to leave a little gap in our notes. Power, skip some Marines and the tank to get faster third CC. There's no risk of dying this early. So even your Viking Cyclone is so fast that you could have skipped some production. Third CC could be a full minute or more earlier. So there's just, the thing is, if you have like 7 Marines in your natural, it covers you, right? So he's gonna go and do a push here to threaten, but this is not a real push. So I really dislike this. I think this is one of those moves that's just like, this should not really ever work. Nisho's been very slow on the robo production, so, and has only built 1 adept actually. So maybe, is this a reaction to seeing that he wasn't building units? Okay, so 6-minute push. Normally a terrible move. Okay, because enemy robo was late and wasn't producing any gateway units. However, it still is very dangerous, right? And we just backed off. If you're going to commit to it, you just got to commit to it, I feel. If you're going to go, you go. Still very... We just backed off anyway. Would have been better if we had... If using fake pushes, split a Viking off to land in main base during distraction at front, so you can get some probes whilst you run home. So the only thing here is just look at the economy. He just, I like fake pressure versus Phoenix builds. I just don't think this is that necessary. And I think the third is a bit too late. That's what I'm a little worried about. So I think we're doing okay here, but it's just one of those things where it feels like we've missed some potential opportunities. So we haven't got any missile turrets up yet, but that's okay. I think we could still absolutely win from here. Where's the SCV production at? Let's check the control groups, by the way, sorry. All the productions on 5, command centers on 4, Vikings on 3, main army on 1. It's a good setup. Yeah, this is all fine. Losing some SCV is a bit of a bummer. So, after our push, we didn't split our units. If we just put some Marines with Vikings on one side, main army on other side, would be easier to block Phoenix. Save those 9 SCVs.
Add-on complete.
Did we get an armory? Ooh, if you go double eBay, it's very important to go armory.
Upgrade complete.
Can't hold them alone.
Research complete.
Armory was late. Remember to prioritize
Add-on complete.
that
Research.
versus that with double EB. So you know what's actually happening with this air harass? I've just realized. Control groups get muddled here. Just remember to put more AA with those Vikings to support them. Whether a few Marines or
Mineral field depleted.
whatever. And leave them in main. Don't need to rush to control group tanks, etc. So he's going for 1-1 for the armory after he pushes out. So this is a bit of an all-in. I think it's a good all-in because he scanned. He saw a 4th base with cannons at it and stuff. And he should go straight for the natural, in my opinion. Okay, so let's see. The Colossus are obviously very dangerous. He's got to keep scanning ahead.
Research.
He doesn't have many Marauders. It's mostly Marines. So he should just be leapfrogging these siege tanks. Oh, he's good. So let's see how he does this push. Let's watch this.
Mineral field depleted.
Scan, see fast, 4th finished. Go for push. Good decision. Stim a bit
Add-on.
too far in front of tanks. Move your tanks forward 1 or 2 at a time to keep the pressure on. Marines tanked Colossus. Shots a few too many times. If they do a good job of stalling your push, remember to rally everything across the map faster. So because he's lost his Marines, a single round of Zealots could easily clear his army. Charge is not done. The other thing is if you rally everything, can't you get counterattacked? In this scenario, it's hard for the Protoss to do that. So what if they backstab with Zealots? Send a few spotting units out to clear that, to get warning of any potential units coming. So there's actually no need for him to continue pushing necessarily here. But right now it's like, hey, we're kind of winning. Why aren't we moving our tanks forward? So you're doing really good. Just try to stop stimming your units so far in front and just start moving the tanks forward 1 or 2 at a time. Just grab 2 tanks, queue them forward, and just keep rallying, keep building more units, keep building SCVs. You're macroing really well. You just got to keep taking good trades.
Okay.
So because you've killed all the Phoenix, this is a point where you could always choose to either disengage, or you can load up a drop and like send it around the left of the map, or you can send your new rally down the left of the map if you want to stop pushing into the cannons and batteries. But if he comes out and fights you like this, pretty good chance. So we'll see how this goes. He's actually done a really good job of rebuilding the Phoenix. but every time they go down, it opens up more opportunity. If he ever stops rebuilding those, drops are going to become amazing. For now, though, just keep macroing. You are kicking ass. Keep it up. So what do we got? 5 barracks, 2 starports. He's trying to build libs now. Just got to be careful to not get too many units shaved off. It's really tempting to go in like that, but can really work against you. Ooh. Okay, so the tanks are gone. Alright, time to get out of there. Everything's too bruised. You gotta pull back, group up. One of the most powerful things you can do is get your units home, queue your libs to harass, and basically just get ready for the next stage. You know, start 3-3, add a few ghosts, you forced your opponent into arc on immortal, and yeah, do a little bit of harassment while building up for your next huge push on the front, okay? And if you just give your medevacs time to get energy or your bio to heal up, it's going to really pay off. So good stuff, man.
Okay.
So I don't like the way the libs were queued right over a base, but he didn't know that base was there, did he? So fair enough, it happens. Nisho did a great job of using the battery cannon to defend there. That was really well done. The Phoenix did not actually go straight to the libs. Oh, Nisho messed up. That's big damage. That's really good. So this is a huge delay, and the Protoss' army is already way smaller, right? So now we've got ghosts in the mix. Like this is fantastic. Just denying a whole bunch of mine and keeping him busy. Spots the base so he can just come over and do it. Takes a 5th for free behind it. We've got a turret. No turret is building a turret there though. So that's really good. We're building turrets. And yeah, Protoss army is really small. So this is great.
Teleport successful. This better be good. Ghost reporting.
We're returning fire.
Let's have a blast.
Base is under attack.
We can use some help here. Ghost reporting. Gangway coming through.
So the way it works with this style is basically it's not necessarily about killing them with these pushes, but it's about keeping that army small, right? It's about continuing to expand, right, to the next step. So Madavac's all out of juice. So what are some what I'm writing here is tells reasons to disengage. Tells that we should disengage and regroup. If your Madavacs are all out of juice, bio is all very damaged, siege unit count is getting low, right? So all the tanks are dead, and they still have Colossus, etc. So those are all potential tells that say, hey, we should disengage. And the set play,
Battle stations.
when we disengage, what do? Pull back to safety, split drops, libs to harass, regroup and push
Mission is at hand.
again
Upgrade complete.
with fresh siege units once you're healed up, all that sort of stuff, right? Oh, EMPs on these units, hells yeah. And there's just too much Terran. At this point, we can do whatever the fudge we want. And fantastic macro. Very well played. GG. Awesome. That was a really good game, dude. Well done. That was awesome. So I think that was pretty clean. Obviously, Nisho wasn't as practiced with this style as maybe some other players. It was interesting to see Nisho went for like a late second Stargate into I'm just going to keep building more Phoenix. It was a weird choice. Yeah, but I think your tank push obviously went really well. So I love that you just scanned the 4th. You said, hey, 4th is already finished. Like, there's a pretty quick 4th.
Yeah.
Like, let's push, right? Let's go see if we can do something. So I think that the biggest kind of confusion points where you got a bit muddled, or maybe not, no, sorry, even before that. So I'm just looking at the rewind. If you want, you can look at the stream, but
Yeah.
you can just listen.
Wait, I'm opening. Yep.
I think you can get your third command center a lot quicker. So
Okay.
first things first, you stare at your Reaper a lot. So you got a really good scout early on the Phoenix, which was awesome. You're doing some good micro. I just think you have a tendency to stare at it more than you need to. So something I notice is you're always clicking the Reaper and going back in. So if your opponent makes a big mistake or dives across the map, I guess, with that Adept and commits, like, you'll get good damage. I sometimes do feel like you're going back in and staring at it a little bit more than you need to. So, like, I think it's just because you're like, oh, okay, I'll check the Adept's not coming across the map. The thing is, because you have a bunker anyway, you just don't need to be doing that, right? You're building a safety bunker. So if an Adept comes across the map, like, it doesn't really matter, right? So I think fantastic scout on the Stargate, good evasion, picking, you know, damaging probes, avoiding the shades. Like, this is all well done. But I think about here, I was kind of just noticing that we were going in, we were clicking out, and then we were kind of click, 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 click a few times, where we kept really microing that Reaper. So just something, I think you macroed pretty flawlessly throughout it. It wasn't until you let that Adept in your base that it actually was you being distracted. This moment here, yeah, where the Adept comes in. So that was the first moment where I was like, okay, it finally hurt you a little bit. But it was just interesting to see that you're so active with that Reaper. Is there anything in particular you're looking for with that Reaper? Were you kind of trying to keep an eye on gateway production? Or are you just really hungry to try and spot the Robo?
I actually don't know. I don't know. I just keep moving it for map control in general and see if he wants to get fast third or no. That's it.
Cool. I think
'Cause
that's...
if he gets...
Yeah. I mean, it's good.
If he
It's
gets
good.
fast third, I go for fast push.
Okay, cool. So is that part of why you went for the Cyclone Viking kind of push across the map this game and then pull back? Or do you normally always do that?
Yeah, versus Stargate, I always do that kinda, but if they don't take fast third, I just pressure and then go back like I did in this game. Like, I just went and then went back.
Right. He actually did take a third here, but you, I guess, didn't realize because you thought he'd take the other third.
Yeah, I did.
Would you have committed to the push if you knew he took this third base? Or do you think, that's not a super fast third, it's like 5 minutes?
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't commit because it's not that fast, I guess.
Okay, cool. So I guess if people are going one gate into third nexus, which is really rare, definitely it can work, your push. Also, if people are just building no gateway units, and he built literally 2 Adepts and nothing else, like mega greed. So I get we want to punish that, but it's hard to tell if that's going to happen or not. So by default, the problem is your command center is only going down at 5 minutes. So for me, I kind of feel like we could have a different branch where we just go by default, wait a second, do I actually need to be building all these units as quickly as I am? Because the Phoenix aren't really a threat early on, right? Like 3 Phoenix, yeah, they can pick up an SCV, but you could have 5 Marines in your natural mineral line. It covers it. And then you could even have the rest of your Marines rallied in your main. Now, obviously, I prefer the Cyclone Viking, more mobile, right? Better for really shutting the Phoenix down. But you could actually cut a little bit of Marine production here. So if we weren't building these 2 Marines out of our barracks at 4 minutes 17, we'd almost be at 400 minerals. And then we could just drop a command center. And you could easily even delay that Viking, get the command center started. So the thing is, unless you're having a really high success rate with that push, you feel you need to put some pressure on and scare the Protoss or something, I would say an easier way to just make sure we're automatically even or even potentially sometimes ahead with the Protoss, just power a little bit, cut a bit of Marines, maybe delay the second Viking, get that third command center a little bit earlier. Delay a few Marines and second Viking.
Okay, you're talking.
Third CC down about 4 minutes. About 4 minutes, I'd say, is when we can probably start that third command center most games, okay? So that's going to be awesome. That's one little detail. Power. Skip some Marines and the tank to get faster third CC. Yep. 6 minute push. So that can be a really terrible move, but I do like the idea of threatening like you're going to push, but it does leave you a little bit open to the Phoenix coming in and harassing your units, which is always the pain, where he like delays the command center, picks off the units on the barracks and stuff. And that's always a bit annoying because then you got to grab individual SCVs and put them back. And you did a decent job of it, but just another reason why I'm a big fan of the quicker third command center. Beyond that, I think we're doing pretty good. Macro. I think what happened is after we pulled back with our army, we got a little confused with our control groups. So it felt like you were kind of like already thinking about the bio tank push, and we weren't really at that stage yet. Where So I noticed you've got basically, at this point, you took your Vikings off their control group and you put a siege tank on it. And you were already thinking about tanks being on your secondary army group, number 3, right?
Yeah.
Just leave the Vikings and just remember it should be Vikings plus, you've still got the Cyclone, right? Vikings plus Cyclone. And you can throw a few Marines on that key as well if you're worried about like 6 Phoenix coming in and just picking them up, right? And you just leave those in your main, other units on your natural. And the thing is, at this point, you know, your Marine count's so big, you can then split half the Marines into the 3rd base as well, right? And then it's fine.
Yeah.
Just cover everything. It's really annoying as the Stargate player if you've got full energy Phoenix and you can't be picking up SCVs. But just remember to have that clean system, and right up until you're actually like, you know, really ready to push out, keep that split. Keep those units spread across your bases, and it's going to make it way easier to defend. Because remember, these Phoenix come in, they get like 9 SCVs. I think they kill your Vikings as well.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
Well, they got at least one of them there. Maybe they get them afterwards, I think. Yeah, they come back in, right? Yeah. And we ended up building turrets as well, which initially we wanted to skip the turrets, but we ended up having to build them anyway. So just a bit of a bummer there, where I think you could have been in an even better position if you'd done that a bit tighter. And then having that little bit of extra money and units. Imagine having 3 Vikings extra with your push. This game would have been over much quicker.
Yeah, that's true.
Armory could have been down earlier as well if we weren't distracted by all that. So when you're going double Evo, we really do like to have the Armory early. Now, I understand you're pushing pretty hard. So do you plan to delay the Armory, or is that just a mistake here?
Maybe it's a mistake, I think. Even the gas, I think the gas were a bit late in the 3rd.
Right. Cool. So normally that would all be a little bit earlier and sync up, I think, if we defend the Phoenix better, because I can tell like the order's all correct. So nothing huge here. And then your second starport's going down behind it. Now with the push, you are pretty Marine heavy and Marauder light, right? Which is natural after this opening. You just got to be real careful with that ball of Marines. And I think you did a really good job with this push, kind of moving forward. I just think there was maybe 1 or 2 moments where we just tanked a little bit too much with our Marines in a clump against the Colossus shots. And maybe we're just a little bit too slow to move our tanks forward once or twice. Not a big thing, just like at this position. I guess it's always kind of hard because you don't want to put your tanks so close that they can fight inside battery overcharge. But like that stim forward there at 9 minutes 30, I feel like is like, I get why we're doing it, but we sacrificed a lot of bio there for just a couple of zealots. And I think it's any time you're that far ahead of your tanks, you're giving the Protoss a chance to go like clear out and jump on top. Because the moment your Marines are gone, our tanks are really weak to charge zealots. Now, obviously, he's not as used to this build order. Thank you to Nisha for playing it. His charge was ridiculously late. He almost like completely forgot it for a long time. But I think he would have been able to break this position if he had charge. Even here, he could have actually gone out at 9 minutes 50 and just broken it. And then it would have been a totally different game because he was macroing so well behind it at the same time. So this is good to know because, okay, if we keep those Vikings alive, if we don't stim our bio so far in front, but just move 2 tanks up a bit further forward to start actually shelling the batteries and taking the base down, that's going to lead to a much more powerful push that can potentially end the game and, you know, really put that pressure onto our opponent. Interesting point. What do you think about pushing between the 2 bases? So I was thinking, what about pushing through the middle? And I don't know, because it kind of makes it easier for them to flank you, but it also makes it very hard and awkward for them to defend. And it's also harder for them to have shield batteries that are like right in the fight the way it is when you're pushing on the 4th. Just an idea. I'm not sure I even believe it's a good idea, but what do you think about that?
Yeah, I usually always push into batteries, and I think that's a mistake. So yeah, I think I should change sometimes. Maybe go to the middle, I guess, as you said.
Cool.
I think, yeah, that could be a good idea.
Yeah, try it out. We'll see what works always. You know, I think pushing on the 4th is not a bad idea by any means. And because it kind of gives you it's much harder for him to flank you over here, which is cool. So took us a while to reinforce, right? So if they're like kind of defending like that, it's really good to go across earlier. But I do think it's really important, especially because you don't even have a natural wall off, right? To send a few Marine spotters out along the edges. So I would have been like, all right, Marine along here, Marine along here, Marine along, and, you know, one in the middle of the map, so that you could see any zealot run bys coming in. This one didn't hit you very early. Obviously, no charge, made it harder. But that's always the thing, is we want to reinforce as quickly as possible, but we also don't want to just die to 10 zealots running into our natural and totally tearing up our mineral lines. So if you can get a few Marine spotters out, that's great. Likewise, if you ever clear all the Phoenix after a fight like that, you know, it's awesome. If you look back at your rally and you just, 2 medevacs, a bunch of bio, load them in and just boost them straight towards the main base, that can
Yeah.
often be the way to really take advantage, right? Just it's so powerful when you do that. Yeah, really, really good macro though, kind of good progression from there. But I think, yeah, at this point here, we probably should have ran those tanks back. Then once the bio was here, maybe moved back in again and tried to siege up. But there's a few moments, like whenever your bio is really wounded, your medevacs are out of juice. Again, we stemmed way too far in front of our tanks there. So we're often trying to chase our opponent down. Unless you've really got overwhelming numbers, just keep moving those tanks forward methodically. The Protoss wants to separate your bio from the tanks. So try to just keep that in mind. And yeah, if they take too much damage, get the hell out of there. If all your siege units are gone or their support's gone, so suddenly this army doesn't have many Marines, it's kind of vulnerable to just like 15 zealots charging on top of this army, right? That's kind of a moment where maybe we want to go, oh, maybe we do want to pull back here. You know, it depends. If the reinforce gets here in time, it might be okay. But, you know, it's real dicey where we barely keep those 3 tanks alive. And, and then after that, yeah, it's like probably at this point we should have evacuated if we think about it, right? Because out of juice, medevacs, yeah, if we keep those 3 tanks alive to fight another day, that's awesome. Because remember, this is so different to a 2-base kill timing where it's all about just taking some good trades. And most importantly, it's about keeping their army small. So we don't let them go, okay, I've got 4 Colossus, now I've got Disruptors, now I've got Storm, now I've got DT Tech. Like, we just don't want to let them get all those pieces kind of together because that's when the Protoss army grows really strong. And you've already been trading constantly, which is awesome for you. And if we look at it in context, the longer it goes, the better it is to just pick up, pull back. And sometimes you can do that and you can split a drop off, hide it on the top of the map. So if they counter push, you can come in the back. You can be sending that reinforce, like I said, across the left of the map. And that's almost like a set play that I want you to think about. So there's 2 parts to it. Choosing when to just pick up and go home, right, is one. But the second part is when you pick up and decide to go home, how can you do that? And I've said, look, basically, I've written it down in your notes. There's a whole bunch of tells of when you to pull back, but also when you disengage, pull back most of your army, but split off those drops and those liberators to go around the edges. And sometimes you just wait with them. Sometimes you don't queue them to go in. Sometimes you just leave the lib on the edge, leave a drop on the edge, and then you just macroing, and you see, oh, he's pushing out on the map. Okay, queue them in. Or I'm pushing with my main army again, so I'm going to push this left side, and I'm going to send a drop in the main and a liberator in the back of their third at the same time, right? But it's just always kind of swapping. Whenever we pull off the frontal focus, immediately set up some drops and some multi-prong. Because if you think about this from the Protoss side, he's really worried about dying on the front. He's stressed, he's upset, he's freaking out. And then you just like, I'm not even focusing on this. Actually, you got to go defend all your bases again. And they're like, fuck. So then they got to split up. But then you've got another frontal push arriving to push another base. And like, shit, I got to group back up and try to defend. So you're just keeping the problem very dynamic. And it's almost like a set play that's just, it just makes it automatically difficult for them to adjust and adapt to.
Okay, yeah.
Cool. All right, let's host one more game here. We've got enough time for one more game for sure. Unless you guys decide to play a 25-minute, 30-minute macro game, but we'll see.
Yeah, with Nisha, it's always 30 minutes. I don't know why.
Well, Nisha is clearly a macro beast. I saw batteries, cannons. I saw a player take a 5th base while dealing with tanks outside their 4th. So I was like, oh, okay, this man likes his European Protoss style. He's been watching some Hearthstone. You know, the man who will never try to break the push, but will just say, please come fight into my batteries while I keep expanding and teching and trying to get my carriers out. And it can be a very obnoxious style to play against, but once we understand what we're up against, we can definitely adapt and adjust. So, awesome. Well played, mate. So I've asked him to do the same opening, but I've given him some pointers to make things a lot more difficult for you. So definitely not expecting to win this next game. Now that he's got another chance with the build, he's got a chance to adapt, adjust, and be really good.
Okay. Should I do different, like different build or?
Do the same build, but just remember, don't do that little push. Do the third command center earlier. So just skip this, like delay the second Viking, skip 1 or 2 rounds of Marines. Try to get that command center down by 4 minutes 15 at the latest. Other than that, I love exactly what you did, you know? Keep doing it. So scan ahead and see if you think it's a good idea to commit to your 3-base push or not. Before that, keep your units spread. Don't take the Viking Cyclone off the control group. Even give them a few extra Marines if you're worried about the Phoenix jumping on them, and just keep that anti-air split up. If you just get the third command center quicker and you're a little bit better at defending the Phoenix harass, I think this is awesome. Let's just keep doing it.
Okay, perfect.
All right. Just asking him if he's ready. I think he's going to say yes. He says, yep. You good?
Yep, go, yeah.
All right. Good luck. Have fun. I'm going to take a very quick bathroom break, so I'll be going for the first 1 minute, but I trust you to build your command center and your Reaper. I don't think you need any supervision, since you're probably higher level than my Terran is right now anyway, to be honest. But good luck, mate. Let's kick some ass.
Thanks.
All right, guys. That coffee always hits me at this period of the stream. It's always like 45, 50 minutes into the stream where I'm just like, oh my God, I got to drain the main vein like my name's LeBron James. I'll be right back, guys. Don't go anywhere. We are going to lock onto Pippin's camera. And be right back. What's up, fam? How are we doing, Kirok? It's a poo, not a pee, says Hellcows. No, that's the tier 1 tech, mate. That's the tier 1 tech. Some people think it's the other way around, but you could do it in the right order. Okay. Like, lots of APM and stuff. Really, really good, but yeah. My internet went out. What did I miss? Not too much, Abela. We ended up winning that game, which was awesome. What's up, Roby Wolfgang? How we doing, everybody? Hope you're all having a good time. We're going to be doing some Star-Lord builds coming up real soon. Really excited for that. Build order's looking pretty tight so far. I can tell he's very consistent with it, which is awesome. Oh my god, there's a lot of people streaming today, hey. I was like, hey, viewership's picking up a little slower than normal today. And I was like, oh, I can see why. There's a lot of incredible players streaming today. All right. So he starts a Viking. And yeah, he doesn't really need to be building Marines at all right now. So I love that he's already skipping that. It's just building SCVs and saving minerals, right? Because like I said, it's like just power, skip production. Doing really good. Let's just pause some production off on the units, only build SCVs for now. And you should be able to get that command center real soon.
I should have skipped this to Marines probably. I don't think it's fine.
Yeah, getting that quick third command center, it just gives such a nice economic boost to your build. So, really well done there. Has he got these units control grouped? Oh, he does, but he was busy chasing the other Phoenix. Okay. Oh, is that a real Phoenix as well? No way. Ooh, he gets it. That's awesome. Did I just... Is game sound turned off? Oh, it is, eh? I was like, why does this game just feel weird? So 4 minutes 15 CC, much better. He's still prioritizing his worker production, which is great. Never building a wall off on the natural is definitely something. Never building wall on natural does make Zealot DT run-bys a bit harder to deal with later on. Something that might be worth adding as the game goes on. It helps stall out like a base trade situation as well.
Our SCVs are
Helps slow down base trades too. Okay.
Command center upgrade.
Yeah, so the engineering bays both finished, so should be starting 1-1 in a sec. He's gonna float his third out immediately. Now that arguably could be dangerous because you're so low on Marines, right? So you do have to be kind of careful with this like miniature Marine count that you've got. So see how he goes with it. 1-1 did start up there. 46 SCVs at 6:30. Everything's rallied to the third. I think we're looking pretty good, man. Just needs to get the reactor on the starport. Reactor on the starport. Looking good, though.
Oh, yeah.
We're kicking ass. So there's a little uncharacteristic mistake there, but, you know, I got him to build a faster third than normal, so he's not quite used to that. So it's just disturbing his normal rhythm just a little bit. So where's his Marines? He doesn't have that many, but yeah. It's enough to make it hard for the Protoss to come in. So he can build turrets soon and get everything to the front, but I think he's just going to wait for his push to be ready before he does that, and why not? He's still going to have 5 tanks when his push happens, which is an awesome count. He's a bit slow on the medevac growth, but his worker count's just faster and better than it was in that last game. And my god, this is such a grossly early 4th base. This is insane. He powers so hard, does Nisho. Yeah, I think Nisho's the sort of Phoenix player where... So recently we've seen some interesting meta adjustments where sometimes against Phoenix people will just like... I think maybe it was a youth thermal game I was watching. Someone just snuck a Raven out anyway when the Phoenix weren't watching, got around, went in, dropped an auto turret, killed a ton of workers before the Phoenix could get back. And then like another thing came in from the other side. It did even more damage. And then the push came across a few minutes later, but like the Protoss had already taken damage. So players who skimp on gateway units, I think, are even more fragile against that sort of stuff. So there's definitely something to be said here for posturing on the map and creating threat. But we'll see how it goes. You know, yes, was the Protoss greedy? Yeah, but so were we. He should go for the natural. There's no reason to attack from there, in my opinion. He's just like, that is such a lovely piece of high ground. Ooh, Zealots are coming in from behind. Loses one tank, but I think he should be fine. No, don't chase into the Colossus. Don't. No, back. Just move the tanks in, yeah. Awesome. Oh, he's moved a little far forward, I think. And he moved all the tanks, so it was a real greedy one. Oh, that Immortal's just not going to die. Yeah. He took a great fight, but then he tried to like force his way in to win the game, which is just a bit too much, unfortunately. But I do like that he's swapping into a drop. It's just if he didn't lose the army, Protoss would be more afraid. As it is, Protoss is going to be like already thinking about the other side of the map because, you know, you've lost that push, you've lost that power, right? So great first fight when pushing Toss base. Just chased a bit too much with Bio, then moved all tanks a little too close. If we sieged a little further back, kept a bit more Bio alive, and also, so if we sieged a little further back, kept a bit more Bio alive, and brought our reinforce over to support or to drop main base faster, would have been deadly. So you can kill that 5th base at least, which is something. Protoss is defending very, very well. Definitely doing it with bare bones unit count though. So we got 2 starports. We got the extra 3 barracks. We're adding some liberators now. So there's not much anti-air for this Protoss army, but the Protoss has a huge economy, like ridiculous economy. So it's interesting to see. Oh, 2 mules barely survived there.
Our SCVs are under attack. Add-on complete.
Alright, good defense. So when they start doing run-bys like this, it's going to be important to just split more kind of squads off to go clear up the map. So, you know, grab a bunch of bio and a medevac and just move it around the whole top left of the map just to make sure you're clearing up any other zealot run-bys. And just keep using little map control squads like that while you keep macroing.
Somebody, get me out of this mess.
Armed and ready.
Mineral field depleted.
Kills a few stalkers there, it's not the end of the world.
Upgrade complete.
But yeah, it's really important to, like, if he just sent a double drop or a drop around to clear all that up, it would have been awesome. Unfortunately for him, Protoss is going to hit him, and he's not ready for it. Protoss is going to get the jump on him. So Nisho should, even though this is such a fragile army, this is the sort of army, if he just surrounded that with his bio, he'd probably crush it. But now there's DTs on him, so Nisho wins. Probably. You can get lib sieged here. So in this case, you got to try to cancel that, run your SCVs off to a corner to hide, and just try to pull your production back. It's losing a lot of SCVs. But Nisho's not going for the production, so it looks like a recall. And indeed it is, but he leaves his disruptors behind. Oh, getting rid of a lot of production, that's something. Pull back to the tanks. Why is he over here? He's fighting away from the tanks once again. So if he fought with the tanks and changed the liberators, I don't know if there's enough to actually clear that because there's almost no anti-air there. So that actually could have been a game-winning scenario. Once again, he stays too long. That's actually a big common thing. So, yeah. 12 minutes. Should have pulled back after realizing he recalled. Scan ahead / send guys ahead. Just pull back 2 tanks. And send rally to right side of map. Or pull back, group up whole army and go again.
Mineral field.
Did he kill oh, he got the DT shrine, didn't he? Yeah, if Nisho kept making DTs, he would have been in a much better position.
Under attack.
Oh, those libs doing good damage. They get a disruptor or two, which is very nice. Command center survives. Lib harass going down the right. Unfortunately, I think it's going to like go on siege on top of the cannon. Just a little unfortunate. And the rally point's a bit far out right now. Uh-oh.
Our SCV
This is a really weak Protoss army that's acting like it's a big scary Protoss army. This is not a lot of bio. He can't actually beat that zealot count, so he's got to send units back. He sends some back, not very many. I think it's just enough. Oh, he's just going to take that out. Well done. Just pull back from the disruptors.
upgrade complete.
Oh, he's going to try and take him out. It's just 2. Okay, yeah,
Mineral
that works.
field depleted.
Oh, there is another one behind it, but I think he's just got enough. He tags it. Well done.
Reporting for action.
Oh, he's doing it, guys. Holy shit.
Our SCVs attack.
14 minutes. Lovely, lovely scan to see tiny Toss army and jump on it and kill it. Really important to punch the bully. He was acting much stronger than he was.
Upgrade.
So I think he's got the game now in the bag. Really well done here by Pippins. But yeah, you can see a few times if he disengaged with his army and pulled back, it would be like, oof, just so damn good. Oh no, he didn't aim move those units. Oh. Stalkers ain't much of a match for Stim Bio, thankfully. So, and this is all a distraction anyway, more than anything. So those units will go down, but oh, he's actually going to save some, which is super sick. And look at that, libs are sieged. EMP the batteries. He's got so many ghosts. It's like way more ghosts than I ever build.
Command center upgrade complete.
There's a DT there.
It's on.
Planetary turret, planetary with the turret. It's a hard situation for Protoss to get through. Sent a Marauder and a Ghost up there to clear the base, the pylons. It's a good choice. Oh, very nice. Pylons. Ooh! Does get clipped. Oh, this is silly. Oh my god. Okay, it was perfect. I'm making fun of him for being silly, but such is the Terran way, right? In 2021, every Terran wants to click on disruptors, and he actually judged that just right. I thought he would not quite have enough. So all the Marauders were red, but they survived. Holy shit, guys. What a game. This is awesome.
You want a piece of me, boy? It's
Mineral field depleted.
armed and ready. Let's have a blast.
Yeah, that's the last desperate attempt. Well done. Well done.
GG.
GG.
Tank push wasn't that good.
You did great with it at first. You just went a little bit too far forward with it. But great play from there. The drops really pulled him around, even though they weren't doing crazy massive damage. Like they were picking things off. They were keeping him busy. So that the way you rallied that drop across the map was awesome. And you know what? He's such a greedy player. He's very flexible based on what he scouts. So I was like, man, he's being so greedy. Like it kind of sucks to do no threatening in the early game with like the fast third CC, right? Because you're just sitting there the whole time. But your push is so hard, man. Like it comes 8 minutes 30. You've got 5 tanks. You've got 7 Marauders. You've got like 25 Marines with 1/1. You've got 2 Vikings in the air. You've got a Cyclone. It's a scary push. And it actually went really well for you, dude. That first push with it was like awesome. You took a good fight. You killed all of his zealots. You killed his sentries for 1 siege tank and a couple of Marines. But then you chased with your bio. So you chase with your bio and you lose maybe like 5 Marines. And then you're like putting your Marauders in front. Then your tanks are coming forward. And unfortunately, the reactor being slow earlier on in this game cost us because we should have had 2 more medevacs as well, already healing, but we didn't. Instead, we had 2 medevacs that were already like not that high on energy. And then we moved our tanks just a little bit too far forward, where that's like a pretty good move, but we don't really need to kill. Just keep that in mind. That mindset of like, hey, you took a good fight. You can kind of just sit there. If you move 1 tank forward to try to bait him into more fights, or maybe 2 tanks, that would have been good. Like if you sieged right there, maybe I'd be okay, but we moved way too close. We let him fight kind of, you know, before we were ready, really. So if we either just stayed there or just moved one tank forward, that would be awesome. And if we instead loaded up that double drop and it was already boosting down the right-hand side to the main base, that would have been, I think, potentially game there. Because those tanks are just so hard for him to engage into, right? It's enough bio to deal with the zealots, the tanks to kill everything else, and that would have been
as
awesome.
well.
Yeah. But as it was, the drop went in, you kill a Phoenix, your tank kills some probes, you get the Templar Archives. Like, this is all really good. You even get an Archon with that. You save most of the bio, and then you're like kind of pushing on the left side again. You're scaring him, you're freaking him out. You redrop, you cancel his 5th base with it. Like, and the thing is, you were still macroing behind it, but I love that every time you pulled back and regrouped, you were doing a pretty good job of keeping pressure out on the map. Like that double drop, you knew it had been spotted, you would be ready. So you disengaged, you just sat on the right side of the map, you just waited. And you waited for quite a while before you went in. And that is just really good. That's so good. You gave him time to go, okay, I'm not worried about that anymore. And then they came back in. They accidentally kind of derped a little bit for a moment, but they come in, they actually got a lot of probes. And this was always, I felt like, at the moments where he was about to, finally grab control of the game. And eventually, does the drop die? Yeah, it only gets 2 stalkers at the end, but it's already done its job. It's already done so much for you. So really just, I think this worked out really nicely for you. I think you played really well. When he pushed across the map, that was a little unfortunate. I think definitely if we were pushing with our army on the left earlier, because we kind of pulled it back, right? While we were dealing with that drop. If that was already pushing down the left, this never would have got to that messy situation, because you'd be the one, and you don't need to commit to that army, but you just need to threaten with it to pull him over there. Because the fact is we took too long there. We kind of ummed and ahed, and then it allowed him to have the start on the base trade. And if he went to our production, it would have been problematic. Because he's got DTs. Thankfully, the DT shrine's in his third. But if he just warped in a whole bunch of DTs and went in and got on your production, we could have lost the game right here. So try to remember in this scenario, like if I were you, I would have already set all my rally points to the high ground, pulled these units from the natural up to the high ground in my main. I love that you ran your SCVs away, but I would have ran them all the way off to a corner of the map. And I wouldn't have tried to rebuild that command center. But you did a good job. You scanned, you killed the DTs. You're lucky that he didn't come back. But there was another moment where what is the biggest thing that is a huge impact? You always stay too long with your pushes. Everything else you're doing is great. You're so good with your macro. You're so focused on your macro. If you can just build in more of a habit of pulling back. So at this point, yes, he hunted down that command center, but the base trade's clearly not happening. Either be scanning to see if he's actually recalled, or just be thinking about that being a possibility and be ready for it. So you thought he was coming home to jump on your tanks and libs from behind.
Yeah, exactly.
You got to scan ahead the front, send a marine around the back. Or even in this scenario, you know what you could have done? You could have grabbed your whole army and moved up this ramp to the left. And then like tried to siege up there in a nice clump so that you could just kind of siege the libs here, have the bio and tanks there. Just kind of say that, that's the case. And if you think he's coming back, grab your other army at home and start queuing up harassment or drops on the right-hand side to punish him for coming in. And even if he does corner that army on the left, you're going to be sieged up. You're going to be facing him. It's going to be efficient for you. And then that you're already killing his economy on the other side. But once again, all of our tanks and libs weren't even in this fight. We fought with all of our bio.
Yeah, that's true.
And the thing is, you still crushed the game after this. That's awesome. So there's multiple points. The tank push earlier, and then this one here, where you just take a bad fight that we don't need to take. Don't get me wrong. This is always going to happen. We're always going to take some bad fights in TVP, in games in general. But it's cool to see that this is like a very common thing. We know that if you can change that, it's going to be like a big next step in your play, because mechanically your drops, your micro, your macro, I'm not looking at this and saying, oh, you're held back by your APM. I don't think so. I think the one thing holding you back is just choosing when to fight and when to run away. So I think if you can think of that as like the number one value thing to work on as a player, you're going to become a lot better.
Okay, yeah, perfect.
Awesome, man. That was some really good games. I'm sure Nisho's itching to fight you again with his blink openings that he's a little bit more practiced at.
Yeah.
I'm sure he wants to get some revenge. So make sure you give him some customs whenever he gets a chance. But
yeah,
that was awesome.
Play a lot together.
Sweet.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for your time.
No worries, mate. That was really good. Drop by the stream chat or shoot me a Discord message or whatever. If you have any follow-up questions, if something in the notes doesn't make sense, you can see I've written a couple pages of different notes. Some of it's just as, not the most important things. I'm just writing it down as I'm watching, but I think we've talked about all the most important ones. So awesome, mate.
Perfect.
Hells yeah. Well, good luck in the practice and on the ladder, and I hope to see you around, mate.
Yeah, Thank you again.
No worries. Good night, mate.
See ya.